My goodness. The backlash on DiJonai Carrington. DiJonai Carrington is gone nuclear at this.
Did DJ Jane Carrington just go too far for the WNBA to ignore going forward? We're not merely discussing rugged play or strong defense. This is a serious trend of unethical behavior that has now resulted in one of the most outrageous fouls the league has ever witnessed. Swiping at opponents' eyes and snatching them by the hair mid-aim. Carrington's situation is more complicated than that. She skis down it with her face first.
Done things this season that will get her disqualified from MMA fights. She has done things this season that will get her disqualified from MMA fights. This is a bad look for the league. It is a bad look for the league that every game, the referees are turning a blind eye to something that would potentially get them disqualified from an MMA fight. This would have got her disqualified if she was in the octagon.
Fans are demanding something far more serious than a punishment in response to the most recent incident. We are in the realm of suspension and permanent ban. The most outrageous aspect is really contained in the rules. The commissioner's enforcement of them is the only dispute. Later on, we will deconstruct that further. Please leave a comment below if you think Dane should be banned. Come on, let's go.
Check this out right here. As she grabs the player by the ponytail, yanks her to the ground.
Let's go back a moment. Coaches were holding their breath as she almost knocked down her own teammate Paige Beckers with a careless hit. Or how about Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's rising rookie and current face, taking a jab at Jessica Shepard with a cheap shot that was almost offensive. Carrington herself did it. There is film, and it's violent. It's difficult to refute the aim. It's beginning to resemble WWE auditions more than basketball.
Claw to the eye, hit to the head, yank pull. And by the way, that's her 3 of her last 5 games. Those 3 have happened in her last 5 games. She also undercut Skylar Diggins in those last 5 games. Getting Caitlin Clark in the eye, getting Sabrina.
This is where the warning signs begin to appear. In barely 1 month, Ja Carrington has now accrued 3 official flagrant fouls. Not to mention the 2 more uncalled fouls that observers and supporters concur were obviously equally awful. The story is now written by the math. This is not an accident. It follows a pattern. What the WNBA will do about it then becomes the crucial question. Better yet, will they take any action at all?
I mean, not only is the WNBA covering for players like this, they're doing these egregious things on the court that is not physical play. It's dirty play with a big fat D. Some of these players wouldn't know nothing about that. Anyway, with a big fat D, it's dirty. All right? And my God, and then when you call them out, the said player starts attacking fans.
The league has a regulation. You will automatically be suspended if you have too many flagrants. However, we've already had too many and are now looking into what else you require territory for. The safety of players is meant to be paramount. The WNBA must demonstrate that there are serious repercussions for careless behavior if it hopes to increase its audience and protect players like Caitlin Clark. However, Carrington has been getting away with little more than a sidelong glance and quiet up to this point.
There's not a world
if she would have had extension
where that is not premeditated, pre-planned. She looked up. She said, "Oh, look at that!
Whoa.
Look at that ponytail. Yeah, let me yank. How about I keep it real? Let me yank the white girl to the ground. There we go. There, it's out."
DiJonai, DiJonai, you're always in a dirty play. DiJonai, DiJonai. Once again, here we are today. Oh, DiJonai, DiJonai.
Let's begin with the foul that ultimately put an end to this matter. The notorious hair pull. During a furious third-quarter game between the Dallas Wings and the Los Angeles Sparks, Carrington seized Sarah Ashley Barker by the hair and threw her to the ground as if they were playing tug-of-war in elementary school. The arena let forth a gasp. There was no denying the replays. The foul was so obvious that even the slow mo appeared hostile.
But I think a referee knowingly allowing and turning a blind eye to players putting other players in danger should never be allowed to ref again. And I think this is just like the Kennedy Carter tip check last year. The referees, and this is the worst about this, they saw it and did nothing.
And what was it called by the referees? A minor slap on the wrist as if nothing had occurred, not a flagrant or even a technical foul. Commentators were shocked. One analyst joked that if those were extensions, they would be on the floor right now. Social media was as bright as Times Square. The Brick Center shared the video along with a commentary that captured the essence of the occasion. Why isn't this an ejection?
Look, I don't condone fighting on the court, but this team has a real issue. This league has a real issue getting their own teammates' backs. It feels like so many of these players are all out for themselves, and it is wild.
The supporters' reaction was explosive. The same thing was being shouted on Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, and everywhere else on the internet. This cannot be let to go on because it is harmful. In the words of one radio caller, this isn't hustle. The court is being treated like a back alley by this individual.
Criticism justified. Get her off the court. Hey, this person, Kathy Engelbert, you're the problem. Since you seem to think this kind of play is acceptable, not to this play, but many others, you should be held accountable when someone is seriously injured. And it's going to happen. Carrington is reckless, and there's plenty of video that shows. There's plenty of evidence.
The hair pull wasn't the only thing involved. People began removing receipts, bringing up late hits, elbows, and undercuts. Carrington has turned into a moving showcase for dubious plays. Not the enjoyable sort, the filthy kind, the type that prompts supporters to wonder, why hasn't the league intervened yet?
DiJonai Carrington, you are the dirtiest dirtbag of them all. Dirty play, DiJonai Carrington. DiJonai, dirty play, Carrington. We can even turn it into a song.
This leads us to the actual problem. The quiet of the WNBA. Carrington had the most egregious fouls in the league in just 1 month. That is a headline, not simply a statistic. However, the league has remained silent. No fine, no statement, no suspension. They seem to be expecting that if they act as though they are blind to it, it would disappear.
Has been on a crime spree. That's right, folks. She has been on a crime spree, robbing the WNBA blind, masquerading as a professional basketball player, when in reality, she is just a reckless athlete that understands the concept of basketball.
However, with Caitlin Clark on the receiving end, it won't the next generation's face. Clark is being pushed, elbowed, and slapped around as if she walked into the wrong gym. It won't merely be a scandal if Clark suffers any consequences as a result of the league's inaction. There will be a serious crisis. The story is changing. Fans are beginning to doubt the league's credibility and are no longer only angry with Carrington. When you permit such behavior to continue unchecked, can you truly advocate for a no room for hate campaign? Do you wish to set this example for the upcoming generation of young women who will be watching?
It was the hair and yanked. She she went back down faster as soon as she grabbed the hair. Like, come on. Like, at what stage does the WNBA have to step in? Because the WNBA are rescinding technical fouls on a player who should already be suspended. DiJonai Carrington has committed 4 blatant flagrant fouls this year, and 1 that was 50-50 that got rescinded.
One of the WNBA's most contentious names right now is Dane Carrington. Some admirers claim that she performs with passion, while others claim that she plays as though she has a grudge. But regardless of your stance, one thing is obvious. Safety is now more important than style, and if the league doesn't act quickly, the only people who will be expelled are the spectators who choose not to watch.
As everyone else is seeing this angle, I'm calling her in, and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
Let's go back to one of the most eerie scenes from the previous season. A moment that continues to infuriate fans and confound pundits. The WNBA's most promising young player, Caitlin Clark, was moving the ball up the court when DiJonai Carrington suddenly reached in and swiped her face. Everything was captured by the cameras. When her fingers touched Clark's eye in such a way that there was no question about the contact, Clark winced and seized her face. It was a moment that halted everyone watching in their tracks, not just the game.
Caitlin Clark was so lucky with how hard she got hit in the eye. She was so lucky. And by the way, I still believe DiJonai Carrington tried to hit Caitlin Clark in the head.
This wasn't your normal hustle play gone awry or hard foul. The league's most talked about player was directly hit by this. Sports broadcasters and internet videos slowed down the playback frame by frame, emphasizing Carrington's hand reach, the touch, and Clark's shocked response. This caused an instant uproar. Furthermore, the argument focused on whether it was purposeful and what kind of punishment, if any, should be applied rather than whether it actually occurred.
When you went and kind of swatted at Caitlin, did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
Fans weren't buying Carrington's attempt to dismiss it as an unfortunate instance of defensive vigor. The precise hand placement and timing were replayed in slow motion, and the results created a completely distinct image.
You've now got normal NBA fans. You have got normal NBA fans, like, talking about DiJonai Carrington.
Social media erupted in protest. YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. People were describing it as a risky and careless play everywhere you looked. It wasn't just about the impact, it was also about the intent, and many viewers of the video saw intent throughout.
Yeah, I mean, this will be a better angle of it. I think we'll be able to see how hard the foul is right here. That's a hard foul, and she does get her in the face when she's coming down with her hand.
Instead of responding verbally as she usually does, Caitlin Clark remained silent and let her game speak, but her body language revealed the truth. Clark, who is usually calm and unflappable, appeared shaken. Even this shocked someone who is consistently singled out and maintains her composure, and that's when people began to demand action. The timing couldn't have been more revealing or worse. Millions of new fans have joined the league since Clark's arrival. She is drawing attention, ratings, and money, yet even though she is the face of this upsurge, she is being physically attacked with little to no consequence. Fans were tired of seeing that eye poke go unnoticed, because it was only the most recent in a series of risky contacts. Video compilations of Carrington's past soon started to appear again. The ponytail captures the headshots and undercuts in addition to the eye rake. Everything became clear again. It wasn't just a rough evening or a single frustrating moment. There was a pattern. The story was no longer about a split-second infraction. It concerned whether a repeat offender was being assisted by the WNBA. Analysts came in, posing challenging queries. What did the WNBA silence indicate about their dedication to player safety if Clark, the league's top player, could be attacked on the court? Where were the statements? The penalties and bans, the irritation was only amplified by the top silence.
It is a very relevant topic because now you have got posts going viral in the general basketball world, and this type of stuff is just a bad look for the league. It is a bad look for the league. It is. This type of stuff is a bad look for the league.
The conversation soon changed. Not simply Carrington was the target of criticism. Kathy Angelbert's name kept coming up because of her leadership, specifically her failure to confront Carrington's actions. Carrington had accrued 3 confirmed blatant fouls in a short period of time, and by some accounts, 2 more that ought to have been reported. Fans noted that there was still no public announcement, punishment, or suspension. just business as usual, and began criticizing Angel Berg, accusing her of preferring some players over following the laws that were designed to safeguard everyone.
Engelbert, you're the problem. Since you seem to think this kind of play is acceptable, not to this play, but many others, you should be held accountable when someone is seriously injured. And it's going to happen.
Longtime analyst Mark Jackson delivered one of the most scathing critiques, asking bluntly, if the WNBA won't enforce its own rules, what message are they sending? That remark was repeated on chat shows about sports, YouTube live streaming, and Reddit discussions. The same thing was being said by an increasing number of voices. Either Carrington is suspended, or the league's reputation is damaged.
Literally, the referee saw her take someone out in the air, went to the monitors, was like, this is a dangerous play, it's a flagrant, and they overruled the refs on the monitors. The league has the league are putting players in danger. The league does not care about player safety. They don't care about player safety. And by the way, why would DiJonai care about player safety? Why would she care if the league doesn't care? The legal defender, anything negative said about DiJonai Carrington in the media, anything negative, you're going to see a post from the WNBA saying, we call BS about this thing. Anything negative in the media about DiJonai Carrington, the WNBA are going to make a post. The WNBA are going to make a...
This was more than simply chatter on social media. Sports journalists and former athletes also contributed their voices. The chorus became louder. The WNBA was dealing with its worst image crisis in a long time. It is a clear indication if a role player like Carrington can continually breach the line with no real repercussions. Rules are optional whether you want to use them or not.
We do not, you can see with DiJonai Carrington, she does not have the greatest body control. She does not have good enough body control to hit someone in the eye. But I do think that she tried to smack Caitlin Clark in the head. The referee, no call. No call. Common foul. No call on the undercut of Gabby Williams. No call on the hit to Sabrina.
The question that persisted was at the center of everything. Would the league take action or keep shielding a player who many now consider to be a liability? Some reporters even went so far as to imply that a season-long suspension, if not a complete ban, might be the only way to rebuild trust. Indeed, a ban that was how serious the discussion had gotten, and the outrage was exacerbated by the WNBA's lack of consideration for it. You need to look behind Carrington's on-court record to see how deep this goes. She regularly crosses boundaries in a way that endangers other players in addition to being belligerent. Cheap photos of hair pulling eye pokes, it's dangerous in addition to being poor sportsmanship. Players are now discussing it. When will the league wake up? And enough is enough are among the captions accompanying videos of her birds being patched together.
By the way, if the referees just did their jobs, DiJonai Carrington would have a one-game suspension, right? If the referee in the league did their jobs, DiJonai Carrington, and not for just this. And by the way, there are sports leagues in the world that, with this replay going out, will give her a one-game suspension. The NBA is one. If the referees missed it in real time, and something like this started going, not even semi-viral, but went around the league, and they're like, you know what, it's actually putting a player in danger. It's a one-game suspension.
There are multiple players acting out here. This is a test of the WNBA's ability to maintain the principles it says it stands for: professionalism, fair play, and player safety. Additionally, the fans currently feel deceived rather than reassured. The integrity of the game is undermined each time an egregious foul is ignored, and new fans who came to witness history rather than a highlight reel of shady plays are turned off whenever the league defends the indefensible. The stakes are even higher now that Caitlin Clark is at the heart of this media frenzy. She is more than simply a player. She is a generational talent and movement that has introduced women's basketball into homes all over the nation. It's not only awful optics, it's bad business for someone to target her repeatedly with no repercussions.